Every city you burn, I'm gonna build one high.
Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Ashrothi, the voice of New Eden, and it is April 29th, YC126, and this is the Eve Universe Show! Welcome, 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 guys. Welcome if you are new. Settle in, like the stream, subscribe to the channel if you want the latest and greatest in Eve news and updates. Today we have a lot to go over. It is not hyperbolic to say that I am more excited about this event than basically any event I have ever that Eve has had. This is, in a lot of ways, I think going to be one of the best. Like it mirrors one of the best events that CCP has ever done. We will go into that and the details about what we now know is starting tomorrow, very, very soon. I have other things to go over though. We have a new video from Upwell. I have my experience with the Vanguard playtest to talk about. But before all of that, I do kind of want to slow us down a little bit and talk about something that's very, very important to me, which is that, well, there's the 4 new ships that were announced for the next expansion. But I do want to discuss something that's very, very important to me, which is today is John Bellicose Day. I will explain it some, but before I do, I want to show the broadcast for reps video that was made by Coffee Rocks and others to kind of highlight this day back in 2016, right? 8 years ago. So 2015. So yeah, here is the broadcast for reps video. And then, like I said, things will pick up after this. This is a bit of a downer, but I think it's very, very important.
Hi, I'm Coffee Rocks of Thrall Nation and the Brave Collective.
I'm Rix Javix, CEO of Stay Frosty and executor of a Band Apart Alliance.
I'm CCP Mimic.
I'm Sindel Pelion.
I'm Kigali Kigali.
Hi, I'm Tengu Grip.
Hi, I'm CCP Guard.
And we're here to talk about something very important.
EVE Online is often called many things.
Sociopaths in space.
A haven to thieves and scammers.
A universe of bullies.
And honestly, there's some truth in that.
In EVE, I will shoot you.
I will gank your favorite ship.
I'll loot your corpse. I will add that corpse to my wonderfully fantastic and ever-growing collection.
I will scam you out of everything you own.
They will infiltrate your alliance.
And I will make your entire space empire burn to ash. Gladly. In a heartbeat.
I might even laugh at you afterwards.
I might post about it on the forums.
And then I'll tell you to harden the fuck up.
But always remember, that's only in the context of the game.
Good or bad, pirate or angel, we all play EVE because we love being part of this community.
And you are a part of that same community.
You.
Part of us.
Sadly, every year we lose fellow gamers to a horrible affliction that touches every race.
Every religion.
Every creed and every culture.
It affects everyone on this planet in one way or another.
What makes this malady so horrible is that it can be prevented.
We're here to talk to you about suicide. Every 40 seconds, there is another death by suicide in the world.
There are a lot of reasons why so many people die by suicide.
Depression.
Loss of a loved one.
Anxiety and stress.
Financial hardship.
Mental illness.
Addiction.
And the EVE community is not immune to any of this.
Every year we lose some of our fellow gamers to suicide.
Sometimes we look back and see the signs were there.
But we just didn't realize it.
Sometimes it comes as a shock, seemingly out of nowhere.
I'm Mom Bellicose, John Bellicose's mom. My son John had a brilliant mind, a compassionate heart, and was renowned for his kindness. He was a natural teacher. His grandmother used to call him the professor. John was a very popular teacher of brave newbies, which is not surprising. John loved playing internet spaceships. He tried to recruit me more than once. John also suffered from crippling depression, and that's why I'm here talking to you. John's battle with depression ended in April 2014 when he died by suicide. I want John to be remembered for more than how he died. He loved to teach, so we must talk about depression, mental illness, and suicide. Talking about suicide saves lives. It's a way we can keep John's memory alive and help build a legacy for him. If you struggle with depression or any other form of mental illness, seek help. Please reach out. I know that's easier said than done, but it must be done. If you don't feel like you deserve help, then do it for John. Do it for me. Because you matter. You absolutely matter more than you can ever know or that depression would ever want you to believe. Reach out for help. Broadcast for reps.
If you're having thoughts of suicide, please ask for help.
From your friends, from your family.
From us, your fellow courtmates.
Please.
Broadcast.
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 Please broadcast for reps.
Broadcast for Reps is a suicide prevention initiative started by your fellow Capsuleers. You'll find a host of resources available to you when you reach out to Broadcast for Reps. There's a wiki on the Eve subreddit, the hashtag on Twitter and Facebook. You'll find references to Broadcast for Reps around the Eve community. In the game, you can even join the chat channel Broadcast for Reps to find someone to chat with. You can speak to a group or even ask for someone to talk to one-on-one.
The people who participate are not professionals.
They are gamers just like you, who are here to listen.
To help.
To offer a friendly ear if you choose to talk.
You are not alone.
We are here with you.
We want you to stay with us for the rest of our lives.
So I can fly with you.
So I can shoot with you.
So you can gank me.
Please don't gank me. Thanks.
So I can mine with you.
So I can jump your goods.
So you'll buy my loot.
We love you.
We love you.
We love you.
We love you.
So please.
Broadcast for reps.
Fly safe.
And fly brave.
Fly safe.
Fly safe.
Praise James.
So, yeah, I mean, this is obviously pretty intense stuff, but today is the day that every year Brave Newbies holds a big Sinolite vigil to honor John Bellicose. And I just wanted to share, since, you know, this has been an interesting year for me so far, but I wanted to share with you guys that, like, in 2017, I think it was, I walked out of my house without the intent of ever coming back. And it was a very rough time for me. And thankfully, I had a veterans hotline that I was able to call and get some help and get me back on the track. But very much so, the Broadcast for Reps community was a big part of what helped me keep it together. And in 2019, I got to meet Mom Bellicose and give her a hug. I don't remember if I told her that in the moment, but like it meant a lot to me, and I kind of promised her, at least to myself, that I would never become part of that. And, you know, obviously being a veteran, this has always been extra hard for me. And I can say that, like, since then, I haven't had that problem. And the Eve community, very much so, through this, has saved my life. And I really, really appreciate it. And I appreciate all you guys for it. I mean it when I say that kind of stuff because of this. And if any of you guys need anybody to talk to, by all means, come to me, come to anybody within Broadcast for Reps, whatever you need in order to get the help, because we do care about you. And I just want, you know, I know that's hard for some people, and this is not great conversation for monetization or anything for YouTube, but I feel it's important enough to say it out loud. And I gave my own 7-0 to Mom Bellicose this morning. You get a chance to go to the vigil, that's great. But yeah, something that means a lot to me. So either way, we can move on now. Hey, it is Spoons and Aikawarazu-chan. Yeah, so that's what's going on today. Make sure if you get a chance to shoot a message over to Mom Bellicose. She is part of our community now, and you know, a wonderful individual as well. Yeah, it can be hard, James. But I do apologize to anybody who not giving a content warning or anything like that ahead of time. But yeah, it is something I wanted to talk about before we dove into the much more lighter affairs of the day. VRod07, thank you for that support and for your gifted sub earlier. Let us jump into today's news. Before we go into the event that's coming tomorrow, I do want to talk about what happened today in preparation for tomorrow, which is the patch note from today. This has kind of gotten some people interested or whatever, but so today we received Nth Dimensional. Trust me, you're going to love this. The TLDR for Nth Dimensional is it's Interstellar Convergence 2.0, Abyssal Boogaloo. Any rate, so in preparation for Capsuleer Day, they have increased the drop rate of player ships and player-owned structures from 50% to 75%. So basically right now, anytime a ship is destroyed, anytime a player ship is destroyed, it has every module, every item, every box or whatever in the ship has a 50-50 chance of being destroyed or dropping, except for the rigs. The rigs always are destroyed. However, during many events like Halloween or whatever, they often will bump up this drop rate. So in this case, we're seeing a drop. So for the next month, the drop rate will be 75%. So 3/4 of the stuff will drop, 25% of it will be destroyed. Now, this can and probably will increase ganking, especially in major ganking areas. However, the interesting side effect of this drop rate change that doesn't get talked about enough is that this is all player deaths. So if you are doing something more dangerous, or if something goes wrong and you lose a ship, you actually have an increased chance of being able to get your stuff back. So, it might be worth, on the one hand, you don't necessarily want to bling your ships out and get them ganked while moving around. But on the other hand, if you do lose a ship in like a site or something like that, it is even more worthwhile to attempt to recover the loss. But that's only the beginning of the Interstellar Convergence of the event that is to come. So I was going to cover the Upwell thing, but I keep on pushing off tomorrow's event. So let's jump into tomorrow's event first, or not first, but as of now, or right now, whatever. Capsuleer Day 21 is coming. And it appears as if, we got on HoboLeaks as of today, we've gotten 184 new entities patched into Tranquility and Singularity at the same time. So we get we got all of the information, more or less, almost certainly, about the new sites that are coming and the event that is coming. And given the structure of the event, it's pretty clear that what we're seeing is a return of the Interstellar Convergence. So in 2022, CCP did a collaboration with Doctor Who, where these special sites would appear, and it was this event where we could go, and that's where the Dapper suit comes from, and a bunch of other little weird artifacts. It was kind of controversial because people didn't like the fact that it was tied in with Doctor Who, although they did a pretty good job of making it all work lore-wise. But the sites, the event itself was mechanically different than almost any other event site that we've ever seen. It was the only real event that we've seen where there's a true progression in it, where you have to do the base stuff in order to build up to the more advanced stuff, in order to build up to the more advanced stuff throughout the month. So the big problem is that the interstellar convergence, the sites themselves were fabulously popular. A lot of people really enjoyed it for a lot of different reasons. But because of the fact that it was associated with Doctor Who, A, it got a lot of hate at the time, and B, it basically guaranteed that they could never bring back the event again. So what we are seeing is that they have basically filed off the serial numbers of the interstellar convergence, and they're re-releasing it in the form of Capsuleer Day 21. There are a couple of critical differences, mostly in the fact that we are dealing with abyssal dead space and not not the filaments that we had in interstellar convergence. So we will talk about that when we get there, but let's talk a little bit about what the event sites really look like. So here we got a bunch of filaments. Actually, there's a good Reddit post for this, isn't there? Hold on, this is the John Bellicose Day one. Let me go find. Somebody posted a Reddit thread. Here we go. New event items. Alive Grape posted these. And so here are all the filaments. And then there's the boosters and the skins. So the filaments are the critical thing here, okay? So the way it works... Oh, the notion. Yeah, let me give you the notion. Sorry, you're right, Nth. You're right. That should definitely be a link that works. Right now, the Notion page is very bare bones, though, because we don't have a bunch of stuff. But so we have all these different filaments. Where are they? We have all these different filaments that you build. And then we also have anomalies and signatures and different tasks to do those. So the way it works is everything begins in K-space. In known space, and just normal everywhere in normal space, so high sec, low sec, null sec, wormholes everywhere, we will get new combat anomalies and relic data sites. Okay, so the data site, relic signatures rather. So you'll have to scan down the relic sites, but the anomalies can just go in. You can go in and fight, right? They recommend a cruiser for the combat anomalies. Let me, hold on. Oh no, they use the word cruisers a lot. Yeah. Treacherous collapse conduits are anomalies and will be automatically detected by your ship's internal scanner. For these combat sites, the SSCT recommends pilots use cruisers. Desolate collapse conduits are harder to detect. Uncover these relic sites using scanner probes and be sure to fit a relic analyzer module so you can access the valuable contents of these containers. So the idea is that very likely these sites, both the combat sites and the relic sites, will grant you the pieces that are required to build the filaments, okay? Let's actually go look at the requirements to build the filaments. We got blueprints, right? So we need these B53 entangled GQD. We need all these different items, right? These entangled GQDs. And we can see in the items here they all are. It says entangled graphene quantum dots are uniquely configured carbon nanoparticles that have been entangled with particles present in abyssal dead space. This makes them capable of being used in the construction of jump filaments targeting abyssal dead space when combined with an isolated dimensional thread. So basically what we're doing is we're taking bits and pieces of material that came out of the abyss and we're using it to kind of lock onto its signal to try to gain entry back to where they came from, okay? And you need these isolated dimensional threads. A device of unknown construction containing a single thread of space-time captured inside of an unknown site. In combination with the correct materials, this component could become the basis of an internal filament, or internet filament? Connecting a correlating dead space pocket. So, and then here we have the different recs, which are the relic site stuff. Connect the dots. So here's how this works. Basically, these combat sites and the combat sites and the relic sites, in K-Space will give us the material to build the pretty much only the tier 1 sinister and ruined filaments, okay? And we can look at but as you can see, and this is what's critical, every one of these filaments takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different types of GQD, okay? So, and it takes 5 to 10 to 15 units each, okay? So here's how this is actually going to work. The way it works is, A07, when you go and hack these cans or do these sites, what you're going to do is end up with a few of these different GQDs, right? So, when you open up a thing, it'll have, 30 B66s, right? So you'll end up with plenty B66s, plenty B53s, not enough F33s, and plenty of F24s, F16s, or whatever. So you just need F33s. And so the expectation is that you will trade on the market. You'll sell off the ones that you have excess of, and you'll buy the materials that you don't have the excess of. So, and this is, so any given can, like, you likely will end up without one of the different, or not enough of one of the materials, but too much of one or more of the other materials. And this helps facilitate trade. This is important because one of the tasks that are required for the job is, golly, hold on. Yeah, it says the SOCTDD, Deathless Custodians, and Industrious Capsuleers all desire the materials and data that you have collected using your Relic Analyzer. Sell some Triglavian encrypted conduit data, isolated dimensional threads, and or entangled GQDs using the market. So you actually will be given a task for points that just to sell some of this stuff on the market. It is explicitly designed that people will trade this stuff. So if you end up with not enough of one, that's why. And this was a problem that happened in the old, during the interstellar convergence, because people didn't understand that. And so they felt that they kept on having to go back and keep on doing the K-Space sites in order to get enough of the materials, because they weren't doing any trading. So, at any rate, once you've completed that, you can start getting the, Sam. Once you start getting into the tier 1 sites, you've got the combat site and you've got the relic site, okay? The relic site is really interesting because this is the only hacking filament that we've ever had in the game. So inside of there usually is like there's like a dozen or so cans that range from easy all the way up to sleeper difficulty, as in the hardest cans in the whole game. The big key is that you are still in an abyssal filament, so you have a certain amount of time to do them, and that can be it can be a pretty big constraint if you're not used to hacking a lot. A lot of people did end up using like Zegma analyzers and black glass in order to be able to get even more virus strength to be able to hack things better because the faction analyzers allow you to use black glass on relic analyzers, so that helped out with some people. But the combat sites are also very interesting. Now, there's one thing that's worth noting, that in both of these sites, there are these different nodes, okay? There are slowdown nodes and speed up nodes. The slowdown nodes will reduce your speed and your DPS, whereas the speed up nodes will actually increase your DPS and increase your speed dramatically, okay? So the key is that you need to physically manually pilot around in this area. You want to stop it. You want to hold on a second. Can I do like a do not disturb here? Notification settings. Do not disturb. There we go. So you want to avoid the slowdown ones, but you really want to maximize the use of the speed up ones. It's in particular in the combat sites, okay? So, shoot. Actually, I just realized I'm going to do let's do a little drawing. Hold on. impromptu art class. See how well this works out. Where is that? Ah, no, not Discord. There we go. Why is this? That's very bizarre. Weird. Ah, here we go. Okay. One second. Really? All right, whatever. Oh my gosh. I haven't used paint in a long time. Okay. Jiminy Christmas. This is just not even going to work, is it? Ah. So, okay. Whatever. I don't care. Never mind. This is why I don't jump into doing art like without any sort of warning. Let me see if I can find a map. Hold on. Let's go back to... Do they have a map of the thing here? Gosh darn it. It's so much easier if you have... Hold on. A map? Whatever. I don't care. Whatever. I'll just explain it. Give up. Give up. All right. So imagine like the arena itself is a sphere, just like a normal arena whiteboard held up to the camera. Yeah, that's true. Well, I have a drawing tablet. I just should have set it up better. So you have your arena of the interstellar convergence, right? Which is this, you know, sphere. I think it's 100 kilometers wide. I can't really remember exactly. Let me see. Man, there's so little information about it here. Whatever. Any rate, the point of the matter is that the difference between this boundary and normal abyssal boundary is when you exit out one side, you actually come in through the other side. So it wraps around on itself. This is key because the turrets, basically there are turrets along the edges, and the difficulty of the site determines how many turrets are up around the edges. So often, or like especially at higher tiers, you have to bust on over to the turret and kill it really quick, and then use the wall to jump to the other side, wrap around to kill the turret that's over there. Or often, like with the rats, if you need to, you can jump through the wall to get to the other side in order to get on top of the rats or get away from the rats, depending on whichever one they are. Combine that with the fact that there's the different nodes that you need to pick up in order to speed up, in order to maximize your DPS, and the sites become pretty interesting combat encounters. Now, the placement of the different stuff is in the same place every single time. So it's one of those things that you can just learn to pilot. And the lowest difficulty site can definitely be soloed by a person in just a normal frigate or like a normal T1 cruiser. The higher level sites pretty much required at least 2 people. Yes, I'm in Valor. See, I can actually move the camera. Yeah, it's one of the Federation facilities in Valor. So the idea is that like at the highest tiers, it requires coordination between 2 different ships. And one of the biggest reasons why this is that there is very little wiggle room when it comes to the power of the ships. There is very strict restrictions. Well, you guys just put them in. Here, I'll go somewhere else. How about that? Is this Old Man? No, yeah, this is the base that is just outside of the Old Man Stargate. Are there any? Hold on. Federation Navy Security Command. I'll go there. Wait, no, that's the same one. Hold on. Let's go to Federation Navy Security Checkpoint. Fair enough. Well, jot it down. Yeah, that was the Federation Navy Security Command in Valor. Any chance you have the ship fitting that could do the hardest stuff from the dock sites? I don't have that off. No, I do not have that like just around right now. Sorry. I did hear that some people were able to solo the hardest sites, but I never was able to figure out how to do that. Oops. Satonia is a lot. Yeah, Satonia works for CCP now. Okay, so what was the highest tier soloable? I thought it was only dual box, but I don't know. Solo, if you're investing 6 billion into T1. I agree with Satonia. Like I had heard some people theoretically doing it, but the highest tier was ridiculous. So boo. All right, hold on. Yeah. So the combat sites require you can only be in a T1 attack or combat cruiser. So that's the Omen, the Caracal, the Thorax, the Stabber, the Mauler, the Moa, the Vexer, and the Rupture. So these are very basic ships. You can't, you can only bling it out so far, right? Yeah. Then I don't remember, because like the highest tier sites were always very, very, very hard, and that's why like there's no Vedmak or Stormbringer. You do not have to do the highest tier to complete the event. It's just so last time they did this, the Dapper suit, the one with the bow tie on it, was only obtainable in the hardest sites. Everything else was obtainable in at least one of the other sites. So I'm not sure what, if any, will be restricted to the highest tier sites. But one of the other things is that this is one of the only events in the game. This is the only event that we've ever had that has a hacking filament. So while the tier 3 hacking filament doesn't give as good of stuff as the tier 4 combat site, it's still like basically you get the top tier stuff from just hacking if you want. Yeah, never got the suit because you were solo. There we go. If you go high-grade Nirvana, maybe it's possible you're still going to have a DPS issues, most likely. Golly. Going high-grade Nirvana sets or high-grade any implants in order to do these sites sounds like a very big mistake. It's more like you are way, way, way better off going with disposable stuff that you're okay with losing every once in a while than trying to bling your way through this event. I can tell you that right now. But so all of the combat sites are only Omen, Caracal, Thorax, Stabber, Mauler, Moa, Vexer, Rupture. That's the filaments. Obviously, I think any combat ship can go, or any ship can go into the anomaly. And it will allow in either 1 or 2 of these ships, so you can do it with a buddy. The hacking site only allows the exploration or covert ops frigate. So Magnate, Heron, Imicus, Probe, Astero, Anathema, Buzzard, Helios, Cheetah, Pacifier. Is the meta... Hold on. Wait. Satonia, you might want to take a note about this. You're telling me that the SOCT are doing this big effort to investigate this stuff, and the only exploration frigate that is not allowed is the SOCT one. Why is the Metamorphosis? When you copied it over, you should probably add Metamorphosis before tomorrow. Just throwing that out there. You got the suit. So wait, hold on. Which suit, Jeremy? Did you get the scarf or the bow tie? Because if I remember correctly, the bow tie was exclusive to the hardest sites. Maybe you could, and it was extraordinarily rare in the hacking sites. But either way, I find that very bizarre that the SOCT exploration frigate isn't allowed in. The Dapper suit? Well, then you got incredibly lucky. Either way, so what we do see as far as rewards go, you got the suit solo from hacking? You have a video of it? Okay, well, fair enough. People should, by the way, if you haven't gotten a chance yet, and if you don't know who Nth Dimensional is, please go check out Nth Dimensional's YouTube, subscribe to him, show him some love. He is by far one of the best informational content creators about EVE Online. He's one of the reasons why I don't do big in-depth exploration videos, how-to guides, because he's got a lot of that covered already. And he's recently come back to making content again, and it is very new bro focused. So, I'll put it this way. If you like my content, you will almost certainly love Nth Dimensional's content. So there you go. Weird, where did the filaments come from? Who did you did open world special sites and then go to do the PvE? That's right. So it's the same sort of thing. There's combat anomalies and there are signature relic sites that you go and do in normal space in order to build the base filaments to be able to go start doing the combat and hacking filaments that allows you to start building up the stuff to do the highest tier hacking and combat filaments. All right. And again, a lot of that is going to require you to trade for stuff on the market in order to build all the pieces, because it's hard. Chances are you'll have a surplus of some and a drought of other of the materials, and somebody else will have the opposite. They'll have a surplus of what you have a drought of. So, as far as rewards go, what we do see, so I can PvE to do the PvE filaments. Yay, didn't really like doing exploration to do the PvE for who? Correct, yes, there are anomalies. There are combat anomalies that can be done. You do not, in the Interstellar Convergence, you had to do relic sites or data sites or whichever it was in order to get the stuff to go into the filaments. Now you can do the signatures or the anomalies in order to get to the tier 1 sites. So that's good. As far as loot is concerned, besides more of the materials, we do have cerebral accelerators, which are always popular. Glamourix boosters, which Glamourix boosters are big boosts to your social skills. So these will increase your standings gains. So anybody who's trying to get into mission running, or maybe if you're trying to fix your standings with one of the pirate empires or even one of the standard empires, you're doing an epic arc or something like that in order to get standings with places, these Glamourix boosters will give you will significantly increase the amount that you get for the standings boosts and stuff like that for those tasks. So, in fact, Glamourixes are so powerful that a lot of people who do burner agents love them, because then you can decline missions, and the missions that you do end up doing end up giving you enough standings to more than compensate for the amount that you burn by skipping some. Not that I recommend skipping missions or anything like burning standings very often, but Glamourix boosters are very useful in gaining. It's a 20, 25, or 50% bonus to corporation and faction standings increases. It's worth noting that this does not include Triglavians or Edencom. That's a whole separate system. These do not help with those. The rep boosters are dope for new bros. Who we got them last year, and I can level 4 for every empire now. Yes, yeah, they do boost epic arcs. That's true. So it is a big, big, big bonus. And if you really, really, really want to like overall it, you can actually pay other people to do the SOE epic arc, and then you fleet up with you as they complete the final reward. And you can use this accelerator in order to quickly gain faction standings, which is one of the most valuable standings in the whole game. In addition to that, we also have SOCT boosters with relic range boosters, coherence boosters, and strength boosters. Now, range is kind of useful. Coherence is whatever, but strength is huge. Virus strength is so powerful when it comes to these kinds of things. Now, +4 or +4 +6 virus strength, or +8 virus strength, well, that'll have to remain to be seen how big of a bonus that is. But the thing is that when it comes to hacking, you do your damage to the defense node first, and then and only if the defender is still alive do they do damage back to you. So if you can kill it in fewer hits, you just straight up take less damage. And if you can kill it in a single hit, you take no damage at all. So virus strength is super powerful. It's the reason why Black Glass is such a big deal. I kind of hate them too. And I don't understand why it's only +8. That seems like a really weird number, given the fact that everything's always in a base like 5 or 10. But we'll just have to see how it plays out. And then, of course, we have armor and shield reps. It won't help for hacking, just relic. You mean it won't help for data, just relic? That's true. Yeah. I mean, the more I look at it, they look like they should be good, but it also looks like CCP's nervous about making them too good because, like I said, virus strength is so strong. So strong. But only if it's really more than 5 or 10. I don't know. And then turret boosters and capacitor boosters. It is weird that we're not getting missiles because, SOCT ships can use missiles too. These are only turrets. It is worth noting that when we go through these things, we'll see a couple of items like this. So when they make these sorts of events, they often copy something previously wholesale and then modify it. That's just to make sure that everything behind the scenes is wired up correctly. So chances are they literally just copied the entirety of the Doctor Who event and then changed all of the stuff. So I wasn't joking when they said they filed off the serial number. And this is one of those examples where likely they had one more thing than they ended up needing or using. And so this one kind of remains as just kind of an artifact. We'll see whether or not it gets changed. Should help data if you have black glass. You mean, yeah, black glass works by definition on data stuff. The question is, will this relic booster work for the Zegma? Because the Zegma works for relics with Black Glass because the Zegma is technically a data analyzer. So I don't remember whether or not this relic strength booster will work with Zegmas, because Zegmas are technically data analyzers. We'll have to see. Oh. Do they? Okay, great. Never mind. Then that's great. And then there's also agility boosters, armor booster, scan boosters. The scan boosters could be really good, especially for entry-level explorers, because scan strength is what allows you to like resolve signatures. There's firework packages, Glamorix crates. And then all of the skins. Admiral Noir's... Wait, Spiced Rum? That's weird that they're putting that in. I think that's Alexander Noir, which is... Noir is the guy who ran the Nix into the station during the Empyrean Age. Either way, so we can see here that, like, we have the different rats. It appears that the inside of the sites will be either rogue, Drifter or Triglavian, maybe even a combination of the two. There seems to be the correct stuff for it to be either of them inside, because we have the damaged Restless Tower, and then we also have the damaged Warposts. So I don't know which of these are going to be part of the play, outside of the Abyss versus inside of the Abyss. The big thing that's worth noting about this Capsuleer Day event, the big difference between Capsuleer Day event and the Interstellar Convergence, is the existence of the weather effects. And this is the part that a lot of people, like, this is the part that we're going to have to adapt to, and I'm not sure how it's all going to play out. So on the exploration side of things, all of the filaments are electrical. Now, I often say that electrical are one of the easiest the best filaments for newer players, because they compensate the best for a lack of skills. Electrical have the recharge rate or recharge speed of your capacitor, thereby doubling the recharge rate of the capacitor. Your capacitor recharges twice as fast in electricals, which means things that are not cap stable at all in real world are cap stable in these sorts of, or in electrical sites. So this is why you get a lot of really good shield boosters or, cap hungry ships that like to use electrical sites, especially like Amar ships, right? So in this case, these sites are going to be hacking sites, which means that electrical is just simply going to give you tons of cap. So you can go with like a big micro warp drive or whatever you need in order to get from point A to point B in these different sites. However, on the combat side of things, we have it a little bit different. Tier 1 is exotic, Tier 2 is electrical, Tier 3 is gamma, and Tier 4 is firestorm. Well, if we go into... the agency and go to agents or encounters, abyssal dead space, we can see the different kinds of weather, right? And so the tier 1 exotic weather gives a bonus to scan resolution, so you get to lock things faster, and a penalty to kinetic damage. Okay. So this is why exotics are often pretty commonly good for like the Gila. Not that you're going to use the Gila here, but like, so remember, like Caldari ships are often kinetic locked. So exotics end up being one that a lot of Caldari ships will enjoy because they can maximize the damage that they do inside of them, right? In this case, those missiles are probably going to be pretty good for application and killing off those turrets inside of those, the easiest sites, right? The Tech 2, Vicious, is going to be electrical. So just like with what we were talking about earlier, the electrical is going to increase your capacitor, which is going to probably help you out quite a bit during that time, but will make you vulnerable to EM damage. The Triglavians are probably going to do a majority explosive thermal, with the sleepers doing more of an omni. So, yeah. And then the tier 3 is a gamma filament. Gamma is the highest shield HP. So, again, very popular with healers in the Abyss because of their passive recharge. But in this case, you know, when killing things is such an important thing, this additional hit points on the towers and on the rats could very well be disastrous for you. And to make matters even worse, the tier 4 filament is a firestorm, and firestorms are the most dangerous filaments in the entire game because at least with the shields, the bonus shield hit points, your passive shields and other shield ships will benefit from that. With the armor, it's armor hit points, which means it gives you as a player nothing. If you're relying on your armor buffer, you are screwed. You're basically relying on your active reps as an armor ship in order to keep yourself up. So you're getting nothing from this buffer, and you're getting a penalty to thermal, which is the primary damage type of some of the most deadliest ships in the Abyss, including Triglavians. And that additional armor hit points will likely be given to the Triglavian ships that often can spider tank. We'll have to see how they operate in the Abyss or in these sites. But you will have to deal with their thermal damage while at the same time chunking through more of their hit points. So that's likely why the firestorms are put as the highest tier. Are you thinking too much about normal abyssals? It might be worth to players up for just a single room. Hold on. I hate worth to plate up for just a single room. Oh, you mean like the buffer thing? Well, possibly. Although, I mean, like, yes, buffer actually might end up being a big thing, especially given the fact that you need to kill the turrets before they kill you. But I'm just pointing out that, like, armor buffer isn't very, like, in the same way that electrical is something that the player gets to take advantage of that the enemy really doesn't get to take advantage of. By contrast, the firestorm is an advantage that the enemy absolutely gets to take advantage of, and you, the player, it's difficult to take advantage of. Fair? The big problem with plating up is that you do not want to be going slow in these sites. So now, we can look at the rats themselves. Hold on. Hey, Bash. Excited to do all this, even though I have no idea what I'm doing. We will make sure that you know what you're doing. Tomorrow, we will be streaming, and I will be running these sites live. 07 Punch, thank you for that. Don't forget to broadcast for reps if you need to. And thank you guys actually so much for the support, especially right now on this video, because I probably sacrificed this video's monetization in order to talk about broadcast for reps at the beginning of the video. I'll just be straight up. I mean, enemies benefit equal from armor and shield buffer. Yes and no. Well, like traditionally, so the reason why the Triglavians it's the Triglavians benefiting from the armor that usually matters because of their spider tanking, and so it's the longer it takes for you to kill each one of them, the harder it is. Theoretically speaking, the sleepers might end up being that way too. So the electrical and the gamma and the firestorm might equally provide problems, which is why they're the top 2 difficulty. Well, I'm going to be running them a lot, and so if you let me know, I can figure out when to do it. I'm probably going to. I mean, like this is my normal time to be streaming. Can you bring in an exec navy? No. The only Galente ships will be a Thorax and a Vexer. There's no navy ships at all. Yeah, sounds like a good plan, Nth. I'm excited. Yeah, I'll put it this way. I remember when this event was ending last time, me and a bunch of people were hanging out in comms, and we all pretty much agreed that the only thing that was wrong with the Doctor Who event was that it was ending. We were very sad it was ending. I remember on day, like, 3 or day 4, or maybe it was day 2. Either way, it was, you know, as we were getting into the event, it was like 10 o'clock at night, and I went to go lay down, and I suddenly realized that, like, oh my gosh, it's very likely that no one has actually started to build the correct stuff yet, because it was just like you had to grind your way up. And so that meant that, like, the very top stuff was still up for grabs. And it got me to stop, go back to my computer, and keep playing more sites, because there was real progression there. There was a reason to continue to grind on, because one of the biggest problems with event sites in a lot of the times, especially longer running event sites, is that an event is basically the exact same on day 1 than on the last day, right? Like you're doing the exact same sites, exactly the same over and over again the entire time in order to grind up the track. But in this case, there is clear progression. You have to first start out by doing the K-space sites in order to build up your stockpile. And then you have to start doing tier 1 sites in order to try to get enough stuff to do tier 2 sites and work your way up the chain. And one of the things I find most interesting about this and these different weather effects isn't necessarily the additional challenge or whatever that a weather effect does, but what it does mean is that you will likely need to have a different ship per weather, right? The ship that you used in tier 1 Abyss or tier 1 combat will at least need to be refit, more likely than not, in order to do the tier 3, tier 4. Because there's different weather, there's different considerations. You're going to want to do a different damage type. So, and you're going to want to defend against a different damage type. Will it be Rapid Caracal meta again? Well, what's interesting about that, Stoned Gunner, is that remember, the Rapid Caracal just lost their range bonus, right? And so range is extremely important at this point, because being able to put damage on the target ASAP is a big deal. So it might be, especially if pilots are good enough to grab one of the speed boosts and get to the position. But, like, the big advantage of the Rapid Light Caracal of being able to push damage directly to the towers as soon as you zoom in may not happen anymore. Can alpha players enjoy the event? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because that's the thing. Okay, so again, this is the thing that's really critical. Speed boosters confirmed, yeah. So we have the tachyon clouds and the other stuff, and it says it in the descriptions too. It references them, and even the up-to-date descriptions. So I'm pretty sure, I guess I could be, like, stupidly wrong, and Satonia could correct me right now, but that's my understanding. No, this is actually a really, really good event for alphas, because all of the advantages that Omegas would normally bring to the table, they can't bring them. We can't bring our T2 ships. We can't bring our fancy equipment. You know, any amount of bling that we can bring to a ship, a T1, an alpha can bring. Like, literally, there's almost no combat difference between an alpha and omega, just based on the state alone. Now, granted, depending on how many skill points you have, might make a difference. But, like, an alpha and omega are kind of on equal footing in this event. What was that, Danny? Hold on. Why aren't you scrolling? Where was that? Missed something. Oh, never mind. It got deleted. That's why I can't find it. Oh, okay. My bad. Yeah. That's unfortunate. Could you explain what kind of sites they are they? I'm new to this. So the external sites are going to be like a normal combat anomaly, cruiser size difficulty, and a normal relic site. And then the filaments themselves, as I said, are generally like the combat sites are a big abyssal arena where if you go out one side, you come back in the other side rather than being destroyed. And there'll be a series of turrets. The number of turrets are based on the difficulty of the site. Those turrets hit very, very hard. And then there's a series of rats that usually spawn towards the center of the site that must be killed. If I remember correctly, there's like big primary rats and then smaller, lesser rats. In this case, it'll likely be the Triglavian and Drifter battleships. Are the regular sites are in all known areas of space: high, medium, high, low, null, and wormhole space. So let's go ahead and look at some of these skins, okay? Because right now it looks like these skins are the primary reward for the event. And it's worth noting that it looks like our regular sites all the same. There are two regular sites. There's the one combat site, and then there's the one relic site. There's treacherous collapsed conduit and desolate collapsed conduit. The desolate collapsed conduit is the relic site, and the other one I said, the treacherous collapsed conduit, is the combat site, right? Hold on. Yeah, destroy a hostile drone while exploring treacherous collapsed conduit sites for abyssal battlefields accessed by or the abyssal battlefields accessed by the sinister exotic filaments. So this seems to associate the fact that it's going to be okay. So in the battlefields, where are we? Come on. So according to these tasks, we have treacherous collapsed conduit sites, which will have hostile drones in them. Okay? And then there are the abyssal battlefields, which are the combat filaments that we build. And that has a ruptured shacking Lashak or a ruptured drifter battleship. So like I said, it seems like there's a 50-50 chance when you go into one of the combat sites if you're going to have a armor-focused Triglavian fleet to fight or a shield-focused sleeper fleet to fight, right? And then meanwhile, the other filaments, the desolate collapsed conduit sites, won't have any rats. They just have the relics cans to hack. And you also get tasks for building the filaments, and you have tasks to sell the stuff on the market, just like you did with the Doctor Who event. Yeah, and then here's the tachyon cloud and anti-tachyon cloud. According to the ship's sensors, this strange phenomenon is a tightly bound knot of space-time that may spontaneously unravel if a sufficiently massive object gets too close. A spaceship would qualify in instantly unraveling the space-time of this configuration in close proximity to it have a strong effect on the temporal aspect of the ship's systems. However, this does say copy, so chances are that's not the actual main one. Or they haven't finished the text for it. We have Awakened Preservers. Okay, so as far as the skins go, okay, let's look at the skins. We can search for XXI. I personally believe, unironically, that these are the best skins, Capsuleer Day skins, that we have ever gotten, just for normal drops. It is worth noting that it seems that some of these are going to be drops and some of these are going to be login rewards. You can actually look at the skin's description, right? Like this one right here doesn't have the extra text, and so this one is likely a drop, the alligator. However, if we look at, say, the Zernitra one, we can see that this one says this skin will be applied directly to your character's skin collection when redeemed, instead of being placed in your inventory. Oh my gosh. Oh, $50 from Bad Boy Smooth 07 to you. More art, please. I got it. I will set up my tablet to be able to draw on it really quickly in the future. I neglected it until today. Thank you so much for that, man. That is awesome. That is awesome. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. So the Stormbringer is one of the ones that does have the will be applied instantly. So it's either a login reward or a track. But here it is. So the Capsuleer Day 21 skins have this really cool banner on most of the ships. And you can see, like, the skin itself. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm showing it correctly. Yeah. So the skin itself has this, like, purple-black look with this crackle design that turns blue, like opalescently blue, when the shine is on it. So these are some of the prettiest skins I've ever seen. And you can really tell, like, if skins are going to be used in the new Skinner system, that you can mix and match these skins in order to make your own custom skins, you can really tell that this skin was made with that in mind, right? Like, this skin looks really sexy, and I will also absolutely want to use this to make my own custom skins, like mix it up with other colors. Like maybe I can make the tips of the wings a different color than just a flat black or something like that. I don't know, but it really does feel like this is one of those skins that they're introducing with the idea that a new Skinner system is coming in mind, and these are just a piece of that. But let's go ahead and go through it. So here is the alligator. I think it personally looks extremely clean. Anathema. The Anathema looks really good. Oh my god. This is probably one of my favorite ones so far. I already really like the Anathema, and the banners off the engines is just, mwah. Oh god, it's so good. You'd like it if they didn't have the flags on the back, but are nice, and we never get that. Look, banners, I'm a sucker for banners. I almost don't even care what's on the banner. I just want banners. Apotheosis. Now, remember, starting next week, we're going to have the login rewards that are going to include basically probably every SOCT ship, probably including the Metamorphosis. But that's where we get our free praxises. So we're going to have a lot of praxises on the market next week or two. This is the Badger. I mean, for just a free giveaway Capsuleer Day skin, these things are crazy good. The Buzzard. Badger. Yeah, I mean, I get it, man. Nothing's going to be for everybody. Capsule. Even this one looks nice. I mean, So the other thing is, I don't know if there's going to be other particle effects when we're undocked. Like, it could very well be. Like, for instance, oh, well, actually, no. So, like, it shows this outline, right? But if we go and dock up real quick. Oops. Is this a place I can dock up in? No, of course not. Would it be? Let's keep looking while we go. Cheetah? Even the cheetah looks pretty good. You're old enough to remember that. Hey, man, there actually was, there's a whole Eve, there's an Eve video of that. Have you noticed that some police skins have accidentally been uploaded to Tranquility again? It isn't just, I don't think it was an accident. And they're filling out some of the missing pieces of the skins. The biggest one I'm keeping an eye on is the Legion. I want the Legion Imperial Police skin so gosh darn bad. But they are purple diamond, which means my bet is that starting tomorrow, we're going to start seeing Plex sales that involve potentially police skins with them. I know Malik thinks that they're going to be more for like the Empire Days sales. We'll find out. But if I undock, or if I get out of this ship, how hard is it going to get these skins? Some of them are going to just be login rewards. Some of them are going to be for completing tasks in the track, and some of them are going to drop from rats. So either login reward, track, or buy them off the market. So, and the track rewards are usually like, they're totally doable stuff as long as you're willing to do them. I think it's for the Echoes thing in June, since that has some anti-crime events. I don't know. The police skins have traditionally been sold for the months, like the different empires, like celebrations. So we can see in the skin viewer for this ship. Oh, wait. So you can see a little bit of the orange glow. Actually, no, you can see the orange glow here. But in space, I feel like it's a lot more pronounced. And the fact that in warp, it turns white instead of orange. These are little details that you don't get to see. Look at that. Isn't that so cool looking? These are little details that you don't get to see in the skin window. So my point is, I'm not sure if there's any other effects on these skins. I would say probably not, just because these are free skins to give out. But I did want to, you know, show off how awesome Arkham Arisen skins are, I guess. You, again, Bash, I 100% guarantee you that if you're willing, you'll be capable of completing the tasks. Because like I said, you can do the earliest, you can do the lowest tier sites, and you'll be able to do that in very simple equipment. If that's really what you wanted to do. And also, I mean, you can do it with another person, right? So, you know, like we could team up and knock them out. Yeah, you're not going to, no one's going to, I stand by the fact that I don't know of anybody who can solo level 4s. So. There'll likely be T1 difficulty for the easy ones. I don't even know if I'd go that far.
Docking request accepted.
Anyway, let's keep going. Gnosis. So the Gnosis one, yeah. The SOCT ships are likely going to be the login rewards. We'll get there. We'll get there. I really like this Nosif one, though. Holy crap. Is there a reason why more people don't use a public fleet finder to advertise for fleets? Like Homefront fleets are pretty much isolated to Discord, but not in game. Because trust is very difficult in EVE, and everyone kind of assumes the worst case scenario, and people are really not used. Like the idea of people weren't even able to make public fleets until like a year or two ago. So the idea of like having a publicly open fleet is something that is completely like anathema to most EVE players thinking. But it's something that more is like, there has been some of a shift towards that. Helios. Wait, that's weird, right? Oh no, that's right. They're all the Tech 2. The Helios has only one banner. Kisrael. The Kisrael looks really good, in my opinion. Especially for some of these ships, if you don't have a better skin for it, these look good. Take it from someone who has run public fleets regularly. At some point, you'll get targeted hard by other players just to spite your public fleet. It's true. And it's also like a lot of newer players, or a lot of, you know, obviously a public fleet that's doing anything outside of HiSec is just asking for trouble. The Lashak. Very clean. The Mauler. The Mauler is one of the ships that I'm thinking about using for the event tomorrow because it has a good skin, or, you know, I want to be able to get this skin for it and then fly around with it. It is, however, a track or login reward. I mean, Virewolf, it is paranoia, but some paranoia is justified. It's frustrating having to navigate multiple discords or even make your own in regards to these types of events. I get it though. Yeah. And that's why like things like home fronts have been such a hard thing for CCP to make happen, and why we only got home fronts in the last year is because prior to, like, I'm not even joking, prior to 2020, home fronts would have been wildly unpopular by the player base. The idea of CCP incentivizing cooperative PvE, like, people would have actually demanded CCP not do that because they want people to, you know, EVE Online is a PvP game and all that stuff. There's been a lot of change in the way that we think about the game in the last, like, half decade or so. This is the Mamba. Yeah, it's not a Corax. It's the Mamba. Mammoth? Isn't the Mammoth the, isn't the Mammoth the, hauling, the ammo one? No. Yes? Do they have a special bay? I don't think so. No, that's the Wreath. The Wreath is the ammo one. Marshall. Hoarder. Thank you. Hoarder. My bad. This does look really good. The problem is that there's just too many good Marshall skins, right? Like, this one's good, but why would I use that when I have this one? Right? Small flex, I guess. Mecha Ball. Again, for those of you who don't have one of these other skins, like the Imperial Outlaw or the Arkham Arisen skins, which had pretty limited access to, this Capsuleer Day skin is an incredibly good looking skin for the Mecha Ball. Metamorphosis. Oh, see, look, CCP kind of know that the Metamorphosis exists. I wanted to, yeah, it's a frigate. Hashtag let the metamorphosis into the data relic sites. You sold your Empyrean Outlaw skins? Oh my god. The Empyrean Outlaw skin is like one of my favorite in the whole game. The MOA? I wonder what the crossover from between warp conversion skins and the Capsuleer Day skins. The monitor is a redeemed, which is good because like very few people actually fly monitors, but dang, does that look good? Why wouldn't we know that the metamorphosis exists? Because the relic site for the convergence, or for this upcoming event, specifies every exploration frigate but the metamorphosis. Sorry, I thought you heard me say that earlier, Tonia. The Nerus. Now remember, hauling is going to become, you know, a bigger deal in the event, you know, in the expansion. So these hauler skins could be pretty cool. The Praxis. Everybody's getting a free Praxis, or every Omega is going to get a free Praxis in the next couple of weeks. Hashtag free the metamorphosis. Yeah, these look like copy-pasted Doctor Who event sites. Yeah. I mean, other than the weather and the enemies being changed. How's hauling going to be more important? So, nullsec in particular is going to be much more about having infrastructure where things are extracted in one place and used in another. So there's going to be a lot of need for internal logistics. And there's going to be 4 new haulers and a whole new host of these new resources that are used in Sovereignty and potentially elsewhere that needs to be moved around. Reagents and workforce and such. The hair, yes, it's the hair straightening ship. Now, I like the Rediva personally. It's kind of a fun ship, but I do admit that the biggest purpose for a Rediva is to be built, or to be turned into a Zarmazd. The Sigil, one of my favorite T1 haulers, just because when I first joined the game, I actually tanked mine out. So when I jumped into low sec with it, somebody tried to gank me and got killed by the gate guns, and I felt like it was a huge victory. The Skybreaker. This is the frigate. That does look good. I like that a lot. The Stabber. This is another one of the ones that I've been thinking about using for the event, just because it has the skin and it can be used in the event. The Stabber is a pretty fun ship. They're very fast, comparatively. And they have pretty good aim. Stabber Fleet Issue obviously has better tracking, but, you know, autocannons hit pretty good. Are the Edencom ships good? The Stormbringer is one of the better Abyssal ships. That's the end of my recommendations for Edencom ships. Unless you're trying to get a bunch of kill mails, or, you know, get a whore on a bunch of kills. But yeah, this Stormbringer, the Stormbringer is very fun to fly in the Abyss. Hey, Roughnecks! 07 to you. Synesis. Remember, guys, Synesis we will be getting a Synesis this upcoming week too, and the Synesis is the best transportation ship in high sec for good and low sec for goods that are smaller than 1,700 meters cubed, right? So anything that's less than 1,700 meters cubed, you should be using a Synesis, specifically. This Synesis. You've got 3 expanded cargo holds, an inertial stabilizer, a low friction nozzle joint, and 2 cargo hold optimizations. The big critical thing is you turn off your prop, right? You don't have your prop on. You want to make sure that your alignment is sub 2 seconds. So in this case, it's 1.97 seconds. That makes this ship basically uncatchable with 1,700 meters cubed cargo space. So basically, I can haul 90% of all of the things I need to move around. You know, if I need to move around a set of expensive modules or even blueprints or anything like that, Sunesis is good to go. If it's bigger than this, I'm usually going to upgrade it to like a blockade runner or a deep space transport rather, because those things are bricky as hell. But this thing is basically uncatchable, and it has sufficient enough tank that if you accidentally land into like a smart bomb camp in low sec, it should still hold its own and get through with the double shield extenders and the resistance hardener. Now, if you are, warping into a risky warp, it's worth potentially overheating this module just to get the most tank out of it. But in general, like, these things are almost impossible to kill. So the Hecate is very fast for travel, but it's not going to have anywhere close to the cargo capacity. Yeah, there is a very little, there is only a handful of people, like actual people in the game, that have the physical capabilities of catching somebody who's sub 2 second. So you can consider it effectively uncatchable. The Thunderchild. The Thunderchild is popular for people, amongst people who like the Thunderchild. I don't know what else to tell you. The Vexer, gaining another great skin for a ship that gets all of the great skins. I already have so many skins for the Vexer. Can't wait to get one more. You know, Warp Convergence, Serenity Flame, Scope Syndication, Wave, Umbral Shadows, so on and so forth. And then the Zernitra. This is the weird one. I think that this is the very first time that we're going to be getting a capital ship skin as part of the login rewards, according to the dev blog. And of course, the Zernitra is an extraordinarily rare capital as far as capitals go. So it's going to be kind of funny to give everybody this skin, but apparently, according to the dev blog, this is coming as part of the login rewards. That's like saying the floor is made out of the floor with the Thunderchild. Well, except, like, I'm actually being very specific, which is that often, if you get a fleet of battleships that are using a shield, if you get a fleet of shield-comped battleships of sufficient size, there will invariably be at least one pilot in a Thunderchild that is in a Thunderchild, not because of some strategic value, but because they really, really, really want to fly a Thunderchild, and the rest of the fleet can't be bothered to force them to fly with the rest of the comp, right? Like that, I see this so gosh darn common when it comes to the Thunderchild. So that's what I mean by that. Is my caps lock on? No? So, yeah. That's what I meant. Like, the Thunderchild is very, very popular amongst people who like to fly the Thunderchild. Like, there's this subset of people that want to fly in all of the battleship fleets that they're in. Hey, FC, can I bring my Thunderchild? Exactly. Oh. The new window thing, that's actually an option under user interface. Only try to use existing window, if any, except for when shift is pressed. I uncheck that just so I can have all these different windows up when I want to compare things. It does make it so I have to click them back out, but you know, whatever. You can only have it one way or the other, I suppose. Yeah. So that's about it for the event. Tomorrow we will be going into the event and running it live for people. Knock on wood, of course, now that I've said that. Something will inevitably make it so I can't stream tomorrow. That's fair. Yep. All right, Solstice. Thanks for teaching me things. No. Let's see. Anything else we got to cover about the event, though? I think that's about it. I think we covered everything. So it's funny is Alt F4 doesn't actually close the client. We were just talking about this the other day. So CCP kind of intentionally made it so that Alt F4 doesn't close the client. It actually it activates the fourth module on the second row, right? Because you were gifted or because you were a member now, Thunder. Of course I can't do it in a pod. Let's go ahead and dock back up and the actual close command is where is it? Yeah, Alt-Shift-Q. Alt-Shift-Q will close the client because Alt F4 doesn't. Since when? I think it was the last stream you got gifted a sub. There was a lot of gifted subs the other day. Yeah, pretty much if you were eligible for a gifted sub, you kind of got one. Yeah. Yes, you learn every day, especially on my streams. So make sure to like the stream if you learned something today. But before I close for the day, I do want to talk a little bit about Vanguard. I played a lot of Vanguard this weekend. I was interested in getting the tasks done. I will say that so this weekend we had to do 1,000 bio. Oh, shoot. Hold on. Actually, I've got more than one thing to talk about still. 07. No, Thunder, what V-Rod just did, gifting a sub to Yorkshire Plebeian, that's what happened to you. All right. Sorry, before we talk a little bit about Vanguard, because I'm going to wrap that up. That's going to be my wrap-up thing. I do want to show Tranquilla with 5 gifted memberships, going to Michael Wilson, Gamer Gods Assemble, Gizmo, Havoc, and Grimmer. On behalf of all of you, or of all of them, thank you so much for that. And of course, for everybody who enjoys my streams, this kind of support is what makes it all possible. You guys are awesome. Again, especially appreciative in this stream because I'm almost positive if I've ever had a stream get demonetized, it's going to be this one because of talking about the, the not safe for YouTube topic at the beginning. Okay, so next topic, we have a new video. I'm gonna let the notifications show up. Oh, an immortal member, Bad Boy Smooth. I gotta add you to my immortal list now. Thank you so much, man. Bad Boy Smooth has been part of our community for not a lot of time, but like he's jumped in with both feet forward. He's been incredibly supportive and incredibly engaged in the game. Thank you so much for coming, or for that. And of course, if you want to hang out with me and everybody else within our crew in game, you can always join us, the Convocation of Empyreans or the Invited. It is worth noting that the Invited is pulling out of faction warfare, or rather the insurgencies, for the duration of the event, so that way we can participate in the event. But yeah, awesome guys, I really, really appreciate it. Okay, but if all the notifications are done. Cool. We have a new advertisement from Upwell.
I always dreamt that one day I'd make it. Do something great. See the stars. But sometimes reality has different ideas. I remember those dreams starting to slip away. Those doors, they never opened for me.
Until now. Because with Upwell, it's never too late. We will give you a new life. A way to make a difference. Our cloning technology will provide you with a second chance. A fresh start. Be the version of yourself you were destined to be. And seize the dream of a future that you've chosen. Upwell.
So, yeah, as many people have commented in the chat, it is so creepy. It is so creepy, isn't it? So there's a couple things that are important about this. First of all, this is kind of the most dystopian view, or like the biggest view of like everyday life in the EVE Online world for baseliners that we have seen in a long time. Or like this clearly. A few other things to note. This guy, his outfit right here, I've done a lot of looking it up. This is a standard military uniform. And it appears most likely that this outfit is in fact the gray version of it. Because the black version has white stripes up here. So the only one that has this dark uniform with dark stripes is the gray version. And the gray version can only be purchased from the Caldari Militia Loyalty Point store, the State Protectorate Union, which tells me that this guy is a disabled Caldari veteran. Now, the thing about the Caldari is that they do operate a meritocracy, allegedly. And so one of the big concerns about for a Caldari person is if you lose favor with your corporation, like your rank within the corporation, your standing within the corporation directly ties to your living conditions. And so while there are lots of people in the state that have access to the finest technology and the finest, resources, there are definitely people within the state that are left to slip through the cracks. And there are certain defects and stuff that can't necessarily be easily solved. And so this guy who's this older dude, they talk about how he had these dreams, and clearly something went wrong, right? They never opened up for him. These opportunities never opened up for him. He got stuck where he was, and now he's sitting here, this old man wearing a military uniform in his wheelchair. Like, how sad is that, right? Like that's a really moving piece. And so Upwell is saying, like, they're going to give you a new lease on life. Now, the other thing that makes this very similar to the Caldari is that when Upwell's data was leaked, they had a different message for each of the different empires. And the one that they sent to the Caldari was very much about how they can use their cloning systems on their elderly population to lower medical costs for the state. So this really does track to be a Caldari guy that is being sold to this idea of joining Upwell. It is interesting to note that this ship right here is clearly a Navitas, which is a Galente ship. But I think that just kind of shows you how intermingled, even to this day, Caldari and Galente citizens are, right? This could very well be taking place on New Caldari, or on Caldari Prime, where there is a mixture of Galente and Caldari people. It's hard to say. given that we don't actually have a name of a location. But this really does, like, they're disappearing people and turning them into a clone workforce. And the other part that's really creepy about this is that when they started putting out their clone program, their internal documentation about their clone program, their messaging to each other, like internal documentation between Upwell Corp member or consortium members, one of the big priorities was about creating proper incentives for the renewal of contracts. So it seems like this whole big deal that they're having is that, okay, we're going to bring cloning to the masses, but in order for you to receive this cloning tech, because normally cloning tech is expensive and reserved for the elite and those who have the biology that can withstand it. But we're going to bring it to the masses, and all you have to do is trade a certain amount of time as a contracted worker for Upwell Consortium. And then in the end, you get a new lease on life, you get, new skills and all that sort of stuff. And that's kind of the thing that they're pitching. But they're at the same time, they're focused on ensuring that people stay in their contracts. So yeah, very, very, very creepy. Yeah, healthy new clone and body if you're willing to work forever. Exactly. Well, yeah, and like the FPS more and more, especially with the way that Vanguard was today, and we can talk about that when I talk about Vanguard a little bit more. It seems obvious that this is like Vanguard is actually just the walking in stations component of it all, if that makes sense. Uh-oh, hold on. Hello? Can anyone hear me? Okay, no, I'm back. I think I'm back. Yes, okay, never mind. Never mind, my bad. I confused myself, I think. Okay, we're good. So, yeah. This is all part of what's coming in the expansion. Remember, we will be harvesting a workforce off of planets, just like, and so we're going to be sending people through this cloning program in order to get workers for our structures and stuff. Look how good the skins are after he gets refreshed. Like, are we getting that right? Well, I mean, theoretically speaking, we can change our visuals, you know, however we want. They've standardized these clone bodies in order to make them cheaper and easier to build. I also wonder whether or not they're doing this in part to make it so it's harder to detect it if they make multiple instances of the same person. Right? If everybody looks identical, then how can you tell that they're actually modeled off of individual infomorphs and not just the same infomorph copied over? Oh yeah. I mean, I imagine we will potentially get new clothes. This definitely looks in line with some of the stuff that we've seen. This could also very well be Vanguard-ish sort of outfits. They look very similar to Vanguard outfits, actually. Yeah. So, and of course, all of this is because Upwell is taking over sovereignty in the summer. We've talked about that in previous videos. I do, before we wrap things up, I did want to talk about Vanguard. Sign a 1,000,000-year contract for your soul. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Well, you know, did they personalize? It doesn't look like they personalized, because it looks like their uniforms are based on where they're working, right? The engineer is wearing blue. The botanist is wearing yellow. The worker is wearing red. Oh my gosh. Sheesh with 5 gifted subs on behalf of Office Burge, Artem, Julian, Hymain, and Alex. Thank you. And myself, of course. Thank you so much, Sheesh. You guys are awesome. I'm definitely going to have to go figure out more emotes now. Don't want to be the red shirt. Hey, there's nothing wrong with red shirts. You can get your own red shirt on the merch store. Actually, you can get them in almost any color you want, I think. Hair's expensive. I hate to break it to you guys. We're clones. We are the red shirts. When in doubt, send in the capsuleers. But yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on. And it definitely, like, CCP is absolutely trying to give us creepy vibes for this stuff. But either way, this is a huge push in control by Upwell. And I continue to be curious as to see if there's going to be a counterstep by Upwell's biggest rival now, the Deathless. Jeremy, that might be a good assessment too. That it could be what kind of space that you're in. Although that feels like a little bit too much like Upwell's respecting the empires. And they're all walking together here. But also these Upwell structures are exclusively, or the majority of these Upwell structures are exclusively in non-empire space. None of the major empires. These are all sovereignty nullsec stuff. No Mars sold here. Okay, so I did play a lot of the Vanguard this weekend. I played with several different people. I probably played, I'd say it was pretty safe to say that I played 10, 15 plus hours. It has come a long way, and honestly, with a lot of the people that I've played, we all kind of agreed that it was, we had a good time. Vanguard is one of those games that if you end up not, or if you're trying to do it solo, it's a very, very, very different experience than if you're with a team. I strongly recommend. I strongly recommend that you, okay, that's cool. Have fun. Yeah, things are brighter for Vanguard with what happened with Tarkov. That's true too. But the thing is that like just going down there and coordinating with your buddies and getting stuff done was a ton of fun. The 1,000 biomass task was relatively easy to complete, I'm pretty sure. However, the 25 missions was significantly more difficult because, you have to complete the entire mission. There were many different drops where we didn't get a chance to finish anything because we got most of the way done before we all got whacked or whatever. I will say, for future play tests, one thing to keep in mind is that if you're trying to just do it for the missions, one thing we would do is we would go to off time zone areas, like a lot of especially in like US time zone, prime time, especially during the weekends, US times, within a day or two, those were full of people. So by dropping into like AU or EU time zone servers, we were able to not have as many other players to run into, which made completing the missions significantly easier. Makes you wonder who the real bad guys in the game, at least. Well, so Tranquilla, the secret is that there are no good guys. I actually have a list of the top 10 threats to New Eden, and we're number 1. But, like, I don't know, man. I am so interested in, like, the updates that are coming to Vanguard in June. Because it's already such a solid... I doubt I'm going to make it to FanFest, but 07 to you. um, it's already turning out to be a lot of fun to do these basic stuff with your friends. And I was just talking and musing about yesterday about, it's like, someday we're going to look back and be like, oh man, remember when there was only one map and one gun, right? Like all that stuff. So, yeah, but I do believe I managed to get all 25 missions done. That was a much bigger ask. And it still was very frustrating that I had absolutely no feedback about how far along into that task I was. So, you know, it's very possible that with all of the time that I played, which I played most of the time I had available, I could very well have not completed all 25 tasks. We're going to have to see. But, you know, it is what it is. I think that, like I said, I hope that the iteration that comes in June is going to really help out with that. It is very annoying. The most annoying thing is that, like, you get one shot at it, but you get no feedback about it. So if you mess it up, then you're just screwed, right? But there's no way to know whether or not you finished it right. Yeah, I did ditch the Manning Fleet for Vanguard. So there is one other thing that I wanted to talk about that happened at Vanguard, and I'm just going to say, like, this is what I remember experiencing. Well, there's two events. We had... So in the first one, I was with my buddy, and then there was an NPC between us, kind of. And so I was, like, scrapping it up with the NPC, and I went to go punch, and at the exact same time, my buddy came through, and the guy that I was attacking died. And so instead, my punch hit him and team killed him. That sucks, but at least you only got you get 5 team kills before you got disqualified. And so that was the only one I had the entire time. So be careful with where you're swinging, because you don't get an extra shot at it. But the one that happened later, I thought was a lot more weird. Now, I didn't record it. I really wish I had, but this was my experience. And this is piecing it together with what my buddy said. So me and my buddy were going across the field. And from my understanding now, he got killed, right? And at about that exact same time, as he was getting ready to reclone, a dude came up out of the cave towards me and started attacking me. I saw above his head my buddy's name, and I brought my gun up to try to shoot back, and I saw that he was green. And so I'm yelling in comms like, hey, that's me. What the heck are you doing? All that sort of stuff. And he eventually kills me. Now, of course, I didn't realize that he had died a few seconds prior. And then apparently he had actually respawned. And then the guy who killed me then went to go kill him as well again. But for some reason, and I don't know if I was just having a hallucinogenic fit or if it had something to do with the fact that my teammate had just died. I swear to everything that it showed the opponent as an ally. And, you know, there has been times where, like, if the opponent is behind the person, it could be confused. But that was not it, because, like, I even, like I said, I pulled up the gun and saw that he was green, which is why I didn't fire. So that's the only weird one that I ended up with. But other than that, like, out of 10, 15 hours of gameplay, that was, like, the only really bizarre, like, bug that I ran into. We did have, of course, some people that had difficulty zoning in. We had typical, like, forming teams, like being able to invite each other and seeing each other to invite. A lot of little bugs like that, which have been kind of plaguing the playtests for a while. But this was the weirdest one. But again, this, like, goes back to what I was saying, which is, like, in that event, I explicitly did not shoot him back. And I then proceeded to not zone back in because I didn't know whether or not the bug showed, like, at the time, I wasn't sure if he just saw me as a hostile. What I had assumed had happened at the time was that because we've had it before where like squad mates don't get shown as squad mates anymore, but usually it won't show their name, but they'll still show up as green to you, right? Even though they like you don't get their data on the side anymore or anything like that. But this was kind of the opposite of that, obviously, right? So I figured that what had happened was he saw me as a hostile when I wasn't. And unfortunately, my buddy didn't have a mic, so it took me a little while to coordinate with him because he wasn't going to type while he was playing, you know, trying to stay alive himself. So I couldn't zone back in because I was afraid that I would just recreate the issue and get him potentially more team kills. And with no feedback, it's like, once again, it's on us to not get the 5 team kills. And it doesn't matter if it's a bug that caused the team kill to happen. You know, so, wait, you often died by this problem? Wait, so I'm not the only one that has done this, that had this happen where you see an ally or you see an enemy as an ally? Interesting. See, that's the reason why I'm bringing this up, is because I didn't know if this was my fever dream or... Yeah, I am a little bit of an AWOXer. I punch... Look, if you're on my side and the swings are coming, stay out of the way. What is it? Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Bam! Never turn your back when picks up a new gun. Man, I cannot wait for June and like the new customizations and stuff like that. Like, I really think that, as I said, we had a lot of fun just doing the basic tasks in Vanguard, and like running around and fighting the different rats and all that sort of stuff, or the AI or whatever, and players, obviously. There's like a lot of really cool stuff going on in the maps, and that's after playing it, you know, for 1 week and a month for the last 4 or 5 months now. Your Honor, he ran into my fist. It's not my fault. Yeah. Well, it was funny because, like, I punched him and then I started accusing him of team killing me. So I appreciate Calidote for not losing his goddamn mind on me, because from like his perspective, it probably was really bad. But yeah. But not all tasks are created equal. Some are way easier than others. One that I found particularly annoying was the one where you have to find the 3 panels. I literally ran around for like 5 minutes until somebody killed me, trying to find one of the 3 panels and just failing outright. So hopefully they can work a little bit on that. One thing I found really interesting is that the different tasks have different notifications, right? So like the power junctions, there's no mark on the map. The readers have like individual markers on the map for each one to help you find them. And then one of the other ones just have like big markers on the map that can contain multiple of them. And some of them just don't have any marker, or only have markers on the HUD when you get close to them. So they're clearly experimenting with a lot of different stuff. I'm interested to see where it's coming. And I had an overall great time in Vanguard, and I really hope that I got both of the skins. But I think that's about all that we have for today. As I said, tomorrow, hopefully I'll be able to come on stream. If we will, tomorrow is going to be all about, in fact, for the next several streams are probably going to be all about these event sites, how to do them, how to best get into them at all the different levels. And of course, if you want to get engaged with me, you can always come and join the Convocation of Empyreans. We'll be knocking this stuff out. And, you know, you can also just hop in the Discord and say hi and ask questions and get notifications when I go live and elsewise. But also, before we leave, I want to remind you, make sure to go over to Nth Dimensional stream and subscribe to him as well. Trust me, you won't regret it. I do want to give, actually, with all that said, I have been Ash Rothy. I've been playing this game since 2010, talking about it since 2012, and I'm here to put even to context for you, my fellow Empyreans. Thank you guys so much, and thank you for liking the stream, commenting on it, hanging out this long, sharing it with your friends. Those are all things that make this possible. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to anybody who likes my content, and a lot of people have come to me and told me that they've managed to access Eve now in ways that they weren't able to before, successful in Eve in ways that they weren't able to be before because of my videos. You know, we've got fitting guides, we've got lore guides, we've got mechanical guides about assets and Yeet exploration, adventures for you to go on, all that kind of stuff. There's something I haven't covered, which there are a few things, just because Eve is so monumental. Let me know and we'll cover it in a future video. But until then, and of course, special thanks to all of you mad lads that gifted subs, and Bad Boy Smooth for his $50 donation, but also just to all of you who hung out and had a good time. I've been Ashrothi, the voice of New Eden, and until next time, I'll see you in space. Bye, merch!
Bring on the wrecking machine. For every city